Rebel Moon looks absolutely ridiculous, and I mean that in the best possible way. The teaser trailer for Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon came out a few days ago, and I haven't been able to get it out of my mind. I genuinely believe that this could potentially be Zack Snyder's best film. Now, there are a lot of people out there who have a passionate disdain for Zack Snyder and his films, and there are plenty of people who have a passionate love for them.
Hey guys.
Personally, I really like Zack Snyder. I don't think his movies are perfect by any means, but by virtue of being so singular in their voice and vision, I have an incredibly high amount of respect and admiration for the man's films. I personally can't fathom those who seemingly have this burning anger towards him and dismiss him as a hack or a terrible filmmaker. I can't for the life of me understand how you can call someone who writes and directs and is the cinematographer of a film that looks like this a hack. And I get that he made some people irrationally mad because he didn't portray iconic comic book characters the exact way they wanted him to. But it's highly disingenuous to belittle his talent. One of the main reasons I'm looking forward to Rebel Moon is because Zack Snyder isn't going to be shackled to any sense of canon or pre-existing rules, and the film won't be judged through a lens of entitlement like his DC films were. Rebel Moon doesn't have 80 years of comic books and a bunch of other iconic adaptations for people to hold it up against. At one point it was pitched as a Star Wars film, but now it's an original IP, which means that Snyder won't be bound to any rules and he'll be free to go as wild as he wants. Snyder's wife and producing partner Debbie Snyder also touched on this aspect being something they were mindful of.
Well, I felt like he envisioned this as something that was wholly original, and I felt like I know after working a decade on DC what canon means and what it means to the fans, and I just felt like there would be too many rules and that he could really kind of go crazy if it was something that was original and he, the handcuffs were off.
What excites me the most about Rebel Moon is that this is an idea that Snyder has been tinkering with for a very long time.
I've been working on this idea for this film Rebel Moon for about 20 years.
In an interview he gave 2 years ago, Snyder touched on the then unannounced Rebel Moon, and his excitement for it was very clear to see.
I've had that idea. I've been working on that idea since it kind of wasn't going to be a Star Wars movie anymore, but I've been working on it a lot, so it could be a thing we see at some point. I've never really done a full-blown sci-fi, spectacular, huge monster world-creating, galaxy-creating thing. I'm a huge fan, and that would be something I think would be really fun to do. Really go after it in a big way.
And now with Netflix, he's finally able to make it without any creative constraints. It's clearly a passion project for Snyder, one that he's been eager to make for so long, and I'm confident that we will see that passion on the screen. Rebel Moon is basically a mishmash of all the elements that have inspired Zack Snyder's creative output over the years. Snyder has spoken about how Star Wars was a massive inspiration to him as a filmmaker.
First thing that just consumed me probably in 1977 was Star Wars. That's where I got my love of movies, and my mom bought me a Super 8 movie camera because I kept bugging her. Just started shooting a bunch of stop-action animation films with my Star Wars characters.
And he often shouts out his love for movies like Seven Samurai, a film that he used as a blueprint for his Justice League movie. He has spoken many times about how inspirational heavy metal was to him.
I'm a huge fan of, there's an adult illustrated fantasy magazine called Heavy Metal that I always was in love with. Just the tone of that really was inspirational to me.
And when you take a look at some images from heavy metal, the inspiration is clear. And it's really cool that he finally gets an opportunity to fully lean into that aesthetic with this film. Rebel Moon is basically a combination of all things that Snyder loves as an artist. You can see it in the visuals alone. And it all combines to create this massive fantasy space opera with a dieselpunk aesthetic that spans multiple worlds and cultures with crazy-looking aliens and slick-looking action. I mean, I don't know about you, but that sounds incredible to me. When you combine that with the fact that Zack Snyder has full creative freedom, the potential for this film goes through the roof. But conversely, a lot can go wrong as well. This film looks packed to the brim with cool individual elements and ideas that might not gel so well together. It all depends on the execution, and I'm hoping and quietly expecting Snyder to knock it out of the park. I really doubt Rebel Moon will win over anybody who is staunchly against Zack Snyder, but he doesn't need to win them over, nor does he care. Zack Snyder makes movies that are unbothered by the expectation of the wider audience, and we need more of that. I'm tired of films that are tested into the ground to maximize the score next to the tomato, films that are designed to be as inoffensive as possible to ensure a profit, films that are products first and artistic expression second. Rebel Moon is none of those things. It's a film made with genuine love and passion for the material. You simply cannot deny the ambition behind Rebel Moon. And I cannot wait to see all that ambition finally fulfilled later this year. I'm reviewing every episode of My Adventures with Superman, as well as making other videos like this Across the Spider-Verse theory of mine that I promise you is worth a watch. So please feel free to subscribe and check out my other videos.